Our first offensive player spotlight for Week 3 has to be Russell Wilson. According to Pro Football Focus, Wilson is currently the second overall ranked quarterback on the season, behind only Aaron Rodgers. He's also second in pass grade and fourth in rush grade, which essentially makes Wilson, well, not underrated. This past week, against an all-around good Patriots defense, I think we could all agree, Wilson was carving them up. He completed 3/4 of his passes for 288 yards and 5 touchdowns. Also had a passer rating of 143.1. He also threw in 39 yards rushing just for good measure. He just played well. Besides one very early mistake, he was borderline perfect and the main reason they got the win. The hashtag let Russ cook probably hasn't even been fully realized yet. He only had 28 pass attempts after 35 in Week 1. If we see his attempts begin to creep over the 35 mark, there may be some records getting broken this season. But who knows, with old school PD at the helm. Fun stat of the week for Russell Wilson. So far this season, he has a touchdown percentage of 14.3%. The NFL average is about 4.5. We had to go with 2 quarterbacks this week. Josh Allen was just as good as Russ was. He completed almost 70% of his passes for 417 yards, had 4 passing touchdowns, as well as a passer rating of 147. Most notably, he was only sacked once and did not have a turnover. Granted, it was Miami, but he passed with accuracy, and just using the eye test, the game seemed to slow down for him. He looked more purposeful with his decision making and showed touch on a couple of his deep passes, most notably the right side rollout flick to Stephon Diggs in the 4th quarter, and then followed that up a few plays later with a go route dime to seal the win. Yes, he will probably always have that crazy chicken with his head cut off type run a time or two every game. But other than that, his improvement is noticeable. And even though he only had 18 yards rushing, the threat on the ground is always something to watch out for. Higbee dominated the Eagles this past week with 5 receptions and 3 touchdowns. He threw in some nasty blocks as well. Currently sits as the 6th rated tight end according to Pro Football Focus. Higbee played on a whopping 86% of snaps for the Rams and provides the offense with a dangerous all-around weapon. He's so good at making himself an available target for Goff, especially off of play action, which as we know are the Rams' bread and butter. His skill set was on full display in the 4th quarter, where he ran a route to beat Eagles linebacker Nate Jerry with speed to put the game away. I love watching Calvin Ridley run routes. The way he can change direction is nasty. He followed up his 2-touchdown Week 1 performance with 2 more touchdowns in Week 2. His balance and body control on his first touchdown was something only a select few receivers can do. One of them is on his team. On the majority of his routes, Ridley was able to provide Matt Ryan with a massive window to throw the ball, most notably on 2 plays. The first was his 2nd touchdown in the red zone. He had to be open by 5 yards at least. The second was his route with 20 seconds left in the first half. Pause the video at 3:31. You'll notice his defender isn't even in the picture. He only had 10 targets, was able to haul in 7 for 109, and to be honest, he could have done so much more if the Falcons only stayed aggressive in the second half. We all know they didn't, and what happened because of it. I will be the first to admit that Aaron Jones has exceeded my expectations. Kudos to him in the outstanding all-around game he's developed as a 5'9", 208-pound running back for the Packers. He did it all in Week 2. Check those stats out. 22 touches for 236 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this was only on 48% of the Packers' offensive snaps. The game was a blowout, so I would imagine the Packers didn't want to overuse him. However, it is something to keep an eye out for. Every time he had the ball in his hands, he was able to finish the play with power. He runs behind his pads and makes you think twice before attempting to tackle again. He then showcases breakaway speed on the first play in the second half with the run up the middle for 75 yards, a backbreaker. Jones ran around the lines, through the lines, and caught everything as well. He might be the best receiving back in the NFL at all 3 levels. We can save that conversation for another day. Taylor comes in as our top rookie of the week, and man was he impressive. Probably one of the least surprising things in football is that Johnathan Taylor is good at football. There was a reason he ran for over 6,000 yards in college. He's fast, strong, and runs like a veteran, following his blocks. He's just a savvy runner. Probably one of the reasons scouts were surprised by his 40 time. Unlike most backs with sub 4.4 speed, Taylor shows patience, and against the Vikings, that's all the Colts needed him to do. Taylor had over 100 yards on the ground with a rushing touchdown and a couple of catches for 9 yards. We know, though, that he's a threat on the receiving end. He proved that in Week 1. It's unfortunate that Taylor's uptick in play was due to Marlon Mack's season-ending Achilles injury, but even before that, it was probably only a matter of time. Look for his snap percentage to continue to increase as the season goes on. For this week's Stat of the Week, I chose the Atlanta Falcons. You probably heard this on a few of the networks, but I'm going to go through it anyway. Teams scoring at least 39 points and committing no turnovers were 440-0 in NFL games since 1933, according to AMO Sports. That was until this past Sunday, when the Falcons blew a 20-0 lead, also scored 39 points, committed no turnovers, and lost to the Cowboys. Now teams are 440-1. Sorry, Atlanta. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell for all alerts on our uploaded videos. And find us everywhere at AMO_Sports.